Hey everybody, Tugboat Timmy here.
And Jeremy.
We're here at the headquarters of ATBS in Golden, Colorado. We have an awesome opportunity to talk to the tax manager, Michael, and we're going to be asking him some questions today.
Michael, can you give us a little background on ATBS?
Sure, let me start by introducing myself. So I've been doing taxes for about 12 years here for ATBS. I've been an EA, an enrolled agent, for 7 of those years. So if you're not familiar with that designation, it means that I passed a IRS exam. It's a 3-part exam specializing in taxation. So I've been running our tax department here for about 4 years. And we've been doing taxes here at ATBS for about 24 years, coming up on 25 here soon. And we do about 14 to 15,000 tax returns every year.
So Michael, I've got a quick question for you. Can you explain the process here at ATBS on what an owner-operator might expect when they call in to get their taxes done?
Sure, yeah, it might be a little different than your local CPA. We're gonna do most of our contact over phone and email. And we have a thorough process to collect your information. So thankfully we live in the digital age. It's really easy to send us information through the mobile app, over email, or you can even mail it in if you like to mail stuff in. What we do from there is we digitize everything through our scanning department so that everything is saved for about 7 years. If we need it longer than that, we could save it. But we're gonna scan everything in and digitize it. And then we're gonna go through what we call a reconciliation process. That reconciler is going to go through your profit and loss statement for the full 12 months of the year to make sure nothing is missing and that we haven't missed any deductions. So we're looking for things like cell phone, insurance, fuel, and repairs to make sure we're not missing any tax deductions before we start that preparation process. That work is reviewed before it's pushed onto the tax preparer. That tax preparer is then going to professionally prepare the tax return. That's the typical tax forms you may be used to, Schedule C, Form 1040, and also they're going to gather all of that personal information for you. You know, are you married? Do you have kids? Did you move? All those types of items. That tax preparer is going to finish up the return, and you're going to move on to our final senior tax associate who's going to review that tax return. These individuals are EAs, CPAs, very experienced in the industry, and they're just going to double check that work before it goes out the door. So a lot of times we get a question of how many people am I going to talk to. It is, like I said, a little different than your local CPA process. You might talk to 2 or 3 people throughout that process, being the reconciler, the preparer, and the senior tax preparer. And so that's our process. It's extremely thorough, so it does sometimes take a little bit of time. But the best way to speed that up is to be available, answer your emails, answer your phone calls, and we can get those done typically within, we've had returns done as soon as a day, and others that take maybe 6 weeks, depending on kind of turnaround time on the information that we need from you. So hopefully that's a good overview. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely it does. Thank you, Mike.
Hey Michael, what are some things that drivers could do to make the tax filing process easier?
Yeah, great question, Jeremy. So a number of our clients have been with us for all year or even several years, and really the most important thing that they can do is send their information monthly. That's going to make sure we have no gaps when we get to that reconciliation process that I talked about. We don't want any missing information by the time, kind of January, February of the year rolls around. And we want to make sure that you're responding then to any of our phone calls or emails promptly so that we can get that missing information into the system and get that tax return completed for you. That really makes it a lot easier for us.
Great, thank you.
Hey Mike, I got a quick question. What are some of the things that ATBS does different than maybe your local CPA that does taxes in your local town?
Yeah, that's another great question. So really local CPAs, they're pretty much up with the times, but usually you're going into an office, you're sitting down with somebody, they might do an interview with you and you go sit with them to review the tax return with them. We really try to make that process as easy as possible for you guys by getting all that done over the phone or over email. So in the digital age we live in, we can do that all very simply with you guys over the phone, so you guys don't have to interrupt your driving at all. You can continue working and we'll get whatever we need done on our end. So that's really the biggest thing. The other thing that we do a lot differently is Not all of the CPAs are specialized in trucking.
Yeah.
They'll use a lot of different industries to fill their kind of pipeline of work that they need done. So they might have retailers, they might have W-2 folks, they might have some truckers, but we specialize in trucking. So we're going to capture your per diem. We know the metrics that you should have for each of your fuel, your maintenance, your insurance, all of those things. That's all we do is trucking. So we're going to have all those specialized.
So if you're in trucking, call ATBS because they're going to get it done right.
Yep.
Speaking of local tax preparers, what are some deductions that they might miss not being specialized for truck drivers?
Yeah, there's actually more than you would think. Obviously, the biggest, like I talked about, was the per diem. A lot of folks don't know about that. They're used to per diem in the sense of, going traveling for a business trip. But you guys are on the road, away from home, under the hours of service rules. So per diem's the biggest by far. So we'll capture that for you. But on top of that, I've heard crazy things about guard dogs, and it's like, yeah, absolutely. If you've got a dog protecting your goods or your person on the truck, absolutely, that's a business deduction. So we're going to pick up things like that. Some local preparers don't think about things like storage. You've got extra tires or parts that you're paying for, storage somewhere. Parking is huge. So all those little things, they add up. They might be small expenses, but they definitely add up and save you money on your taxes. And we just want to make sure we capture all of that for you. Local CPAs, sometimes they'll just take what you give them, prepare the return, and spit out the answer. And we're really looking for anything extra that we can add on there.
Yeah, wow, guard dog. I would have never even thought of that. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Does stuffed animals count?
I wish.
Hey, Mike, I got a quick question that kind of goes along with all this tax stuff. With all the crazy things that are going on in our world right now, COVID and wars and everything, taxes might be a little different than they were last year or even the year before last. What are some of the changes that we can expect this year for taxes?
Sure, yeah. So a lot of things actually changing, like you mentioned, the last couple of years, tax has been a bit crazy. I guess top of mind for a lot of folks is the Inflation Reduction Act that passed recently. That didn't really affect a whole lot of taxes, but one of the items in there were energy credits. So some of that is available for your primary residence if you're upgrading to some energy efficient equipment. Things that I thought about, like some electrical upgrades or solar panel upgrades for your truck, that might be in there. One of the big things to keep in mind, that we keep mentioning per diem, but if you remember, the per diem was increased to 100% for 2021 and 2022. So especially if you're not using ATBS, make sure you're getting your full per diem deduction this year, 100% per diem. That goes away in 2023, so that's another change we're looking at coming up here soon. That goes back to 80%. That was a big one that we fought for at ATBS. I actually ended up calling the author at the IRS to talk them through. They had overlooked per diem when they wrote that law about increasing restaurant deductions to 100%. So wow. Hopefully I don't have to do that a whole lot. It's not the best experience to work with the IRS that way.
Right.
But we were able to get in with the IRS and talk to them about that per diem deduction, get that language changed a bit so that it was clear that per diem was included in that amount.
Yeah, so basically if you want your per diem calculated properly, again, call ATBS. Mike will take care of you.
So Tim and Jeremy, I've got a couple of questions for you guys.
Okay.
You both use ATBS to file your tax return. What are some things that you really like about our process and what we do for you?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. The ease of the process. All I have to do is fill out my tax organizer and send in my receipts, and you guys take the ball and run with it. So basically, the ease of the process, I would say.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I really like how you guys are reaching out, taking some initiative just to clarify, making sure that we're getting all of our deductions. So that's one of my favorite parts.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Another question for you guys. Tax time can be really stressful. What are some of the stressors that you guys have run up against, and how has ATBS helped you alleviate those?
Well, I think the main way ATBS has alleviated those stresses is I don't have to worry. I know you guys got my back, and you guys are going to make sure that I get every deduction possible, and I don't have to worry. So I could just worry about being a trucker and not worrying about paying taxes or filing taxes. because I know ATBS has got my back on that end.
Yeah, exactly. I know dealing with the IRS can be a little bit stressful, and knowing that I got professionals on my side watching my back, it's really peace of mind. So 100% agree with him.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone for watching, and thank you, Michael, for being here with us today, answering our questions.
Yeah, make sure, guys, give ATBS a call today if you want to sign up for any of our services at 866-920-2827. Also, please hit that like button, press subscribe to follow us so you can get more important information as the year goes along. Again, if you want your trucking taxes done right, call ATBS today.